Welcome back, everyone, to the Planeswalker podcast. My name is Jason Florent. I'm joined today by my illustrious co-hosts, Danny T. Law.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be back here. Another week, another time with something special today for you.
And Seth, I never lose, Manfield.
What? I don't know.
That's perfect.
Perfect. So today's episode is brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc. For all of your cool gaming stuff, make sure you go to coolstuffinc.com. They have literally everything under the sun. I get all of my sleeves and stuff that I need for Magic there. They have just a never-ending supply of gaming gear. Go check them out. They also have a bunch of articles. You can find this podcast there. They have strategy articles. It's just a really great website. We highly recommend that you go check it out. They will also be sponsoring our monthly tournaments for $500 in Cool Stuff Inc. store credit. Danny, why don't you tell them when and where and how they can get some of that?
So all patrons are invited to the tournament. It doesn't matter what Patreon tier you are. We have it at the 28th November, and we're going to start at 9 a.m. PST. And yeah, that's the basics. And
it's going to be run through MTG Melee, so go ahead, check it out if you're not yet a Patreon. It's not too late to join, and it's going to be historic, so that's kind of I've been really enjoying that format right now. And yep, as Danny said, 9 Pacific time, noon for me because I'm on Eastern time, and should be fun. We're going to be casting it from my Twitch channel as well. So either if you're not playing in it, you can still watch it, or if you are playing in it, you can still watch it. So you have no excuse not to watch it, basically, is what I'm saying.
You got to be there. You got to show up.
I understand if you have some stuff going on during the day or whatever, but just tune in at some point. We're going to be all there having fun on Saturday. Kind of, we'll be full. I know, I'm still going to be full after the turkey and the stuffing and everything, but that's why I just need to take a break from eating. Maybe I'll bring a snack. I'll bring some leftovers, and we'll just have a good time.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I had a lot of fun in the last one. I think this one's gonna be even better. Just historic's new and exciting. Lots of different decks for people to select. Yeah, so if you get to play in it, you get commentary by Seth, Danny, and myself, as well as the chance to win a bunch of prizes.
Well, it might just be Danny and I. Last time Jason was just kind of there. You could see him. He was just kind of like a face. But I mean, that's fine. Jason, it's going to be Jason, and we can.
Look, we all bring different things to the group, okay? I am obviously just the window dressing, not doing anything behind the scenes. So yeah, long story short, make sure you're there this Saturday, 9 a.m. Sign up through our Patreon. We'll give you the secret password. It's going to be something along the lines of Seth Mulligan Never, and then you can enter the tournament over at MTG Melee.
And besides the $500 in cool stuff store credit that we're giving out, we may also be doing just kind of a sparring match with me. That's optional, but if you win the tournament and you want to play a match with your deck against me at the end of the stream, I think we are. That is something that is on the table as well.
And boss.
Exactly. We're also gonna make a tweet about this. You should see this before the tournament, I think, and you still have the chance to retweet it, like it, and tag a friend. And the winners will be announced at the tournament itself.
That's right. We'll be giving away some cool stuff on Twitter, so be sure to check us out at Planeswalker Pod for that giveaway. Okay, so with all that stuff out of the way, let's jump into the actual podcast for today. So we're going to do a little bit different today. Normally we're always breaking down standard and historic for you guys. Typically every year around this time in the sort of general calendar, Magic calendar, Magic kind of slows down a little bit as we head towards the holidays. There's always a new set that comes out at the beginning of the next year, and so everyone's kind of waiting for that to happen. get yourself some cube drafting going on.
It also gets old. Like every week we've been saying, or at least Jason's been saying, to play Esperion, and so with the format already solved, like, I mean, what do we have to? We don't really have to. Like,
That's
you don't
right.
want to hear the same thing,
Yep.
every week.
Did I say Esper? I did not say Esperion last week. How dare you?
I started with Esperion, while Jason was like, no, Esperion is bad. And then he started saying Esperion while I changed deck. So usually he would say the deck I mentioned the last time now. Just for
Yeah. No, this is gonna be a great podcast. So glad I'm here. In my defense, I almost won that $10,000 in CFP Clash. Okay, you know what? We're all talking about standard after this. So I lost to the guy that won. We played a mirror, and then
Was this another one where you were tied for first? What was your place? You said you almost won.
Well, I lost in top 16. It was single limb.
Okay. So you
need to win 3 more rounds, I guess.
Okay.
4, 2, 1. Yeah. So, and which is weird though, because I looked on Melee and I could have swore he only had 2 more matches after me. So I don't know. Maybe I looked at it wrong. But he beat an Esper Doom deck the next round because easy, right? That deck's so bad. No one would play. No one would recommend that deck. And then he beat Food in the finals. Okay, long story short, in standard, I think that deck's really good. The
Esper deck, yeah.
So anyways, we wanted to just kind of have some fun on this cast, which apparently we're already having at my expense. And maybe talk a little bit about just kind of like life, other games, other than Magic, experiences that we've had in Magic, fun stories, just kind of keep it a little casual, a little fun coming into the holiday season. Where do you guys think we should start?
Well, I think you should start since you have probably the most stories of MTG. You're the oldest here.
Babe, can you bring the bird cream? Bring the bird cream!
I had to do that one.
Mother.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone should break down like how they found to Magic. I can start here. I think I can start here. Since so I just came back to Magic with Ravnica Alliance. Before that, I had a huge long break of 15 years, I think. So I came back about 1.5 years ago. Maybe it's even 2 years now. I'm not even sure. Came back, started playing, but my roots of Magic came from the Judgment block or Odyssey block. This is where I started. Played my first national with like 11 or 12 back then. With people. With actual.
Were there 11 or 12 people? Like how small
no.
It was,
no, it's not that. Actually,
so you top 12 the tournament. You finished in the top 16.
I ended up 10th in my first national. I was 11th. I was really happy about it.
Tied for 5th.
Tied for 5th, like Jason usually. Then next year, I played Onslaught block, the Astra Slide stuff, then the Ravager Affinity. Every year, I managed to qualify for the nationals. Never managed to go top 8. I think I was too young for it. But I managed to beat the current European Championship, like the one who won it. And I was so proud of myself because people told me he's really good. And he played a deck with Pristine Angel or something. I was like, I didn't expect it at all, but I
remember that card.
You remember that card?
Protection from everything, right? Almost when it was untapped.
Yep, it was like a blue-white control with Pristine Angel or something, and I played my Ravager deck. And back then, you actually had to use Mana Burn, which is kind of funny mechanic. There was this white pulse that always comes back on hand if there's like a certain life difference. And I was like,
gain 4, and if you have more life, you get it back.
Yeah, which was really tricky for me as the Ravager player, right? I had to calculate it perfectly. And I was good at math as a kid, so I managed to do it and beat him. So I was really proud of myself. Didn't manage to go top 8 though, but yeah, I was just a little kid. I had fun. There was no way to find the decks, which is, if I compare back then, we had like the local game store, and you had this magazines, right, with people and the decks and the cards, and you were reading all of this and like, oh, that looks good, I can do that too. And that's how you play the game back then. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot until I was like 15. But then I took soccer seriously. So
Sorry, I'm having I'm having flashbacks of my own times back then. Good time. I love. Okay, so you brought up mana burn. For a lot of people, anyone that's joined the game the last, I don't know, 10 years, you probably don't know what this is. But Magic used to be a very different game. So mana burn used to be a thing where if you had extra mana in your pool at the end of your turn, I think, or phase, or you would take damage for however much mana you had floating if you didn't use it.
Man, do you guys remember damage on the being on the stack? Like you could actually, like, I can't even. Like I remember
different game.
I remember when they changed that rule, being so like frustrated with it because I felt like stacking damage was like one of the ways that was just like such an interesting concept to me. Basically, the idea of the damage going on the stack is creature would basically take damage, but it wouldn't actually die right away. Like you could take the damage and then basically you could
I think you're explaining this way too. This is why they got rid of it. So the damage literally, it's like it sounds though. Like imagine that like the two creatures are blocking and attacking, and the damage will go on the stack. So basically, it's like their damage that they're going to deal to each other literally goes on the stack as if it's a spell, and then you can cast things and do effects before that damage then resolves.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Like it was so cool because you could be like, all right, I'm attacking, you're blocking. All right, well then I'm going to return my creature after damage, but before it dies. Yep. Basically.
Yeah, I remember that as well. And
sacrificing stuff used to be a lot better.
Yeah, that's what I remember from my Ravager Affinity deck. There was a thing back then with damage and counters around, and when I started again Arena, I was like, I want to respond, but it didn't work. I didn't realize that they removed that rule. I was like, what's going on here?
That would make the sack decks a bit better in standard. You could just like attack with your like Mayhem Devil, and if it traded, you would just like activate the oven and still get your food or whatever. All right, but anyways, that's old school stuff. You all don't care about life before Arena, so yeah.
Guess what? It's our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
I know.
Used to not. There's like stuff that was even before my time. That was like used to not die if your life went to 0. So there was like combo decks that you could like go below 0 life to kill your opponent. Do you remember the famous one?
You mean Ad Nauseam? That's still legal, Jason.
There's Ad Nauseam, but I was thinking of a different one. Something to do with like flowers, or it was like before my time. It was like I can't remember what the combo deck was, but you go below 0 life and kill your opponent somehow. But yeah, I guess Ad Nauseam is basically the same sort of thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, remember Battle of Wits decks? Like that was even before. Like,
250
like people talk
cards.
About 80 card decks. We get questions in our Discord. Well, why do you play 80 instead of 20? Well, why do you play 200 instead of 60? Like, I'm pretty sure that Huey won a Grand Prix with Battle of Wits. Like,
I think he did, right? Did you have to get judges to help him? For anyone that doesn't know, Battle of Wits is an enchantment that you win the game if you have more than what? I thought it was 250. Is it 200 cards?
No, it's 200 cards, but like, you have to play over 200 cards because you still have to have those cards 200. Left in your deck. So, like, maybe you have a 250 card deck or whatever, and then you play it, and then I think it's an upkeep trigger or something, but it's a 5-mana enchantment. You just win the game. It's just like straight up. You win. You win if you still have 200 cards left in your deck.
Yeah, so I think Huey made like a 5-color like Highlander deck kind of thing, or maybe not Highlander, but what do they call them now? Commander deck. I guess that would be the same, but basically like just a $5 5-color monstrosity.
Just pull out 4 Battle Wits and whatever other cards are left in the binder. And...
Just everything in the binder, yeah. Just get there. Can't even shuffle the deck properly.
Oh my god, imagine double sleeving up that bad boy. You know?
Oh my god, I hate when people. That's one thing. Okay, here's a bone I got to pick. People that double sleeve, I can't shuffle their deck
Yep.
properly, typically it means they have expensive cards. So I'm really like, I don't want to be like riffing on their cards to bend them. So I end up like having to like pull it into little pieces and shuffle it in smaller chunks and just like this is a fight. And like most of the time they just kind of chunk it together twice and hand it to me. No one ever randomizes their decks. I hate that.
Dude, I'm so tilted. I played against the guy. There's this one guy who always plays. It's basically mono blue or blue black taking turns in modern, and I forget his name. I think he's but anyway, he quad sleeves. He literally quad sleeves the deck, and it just looks. It's so hard to believe it's possible, but I literally had to shuffle his deck, and it literally just like ripped my hands apart, like because the sleeves were so hardened. It was basically like a knife was like cutting into my hand. Like that's how bad it was, and I like literally. Like it was so bad. I just hated every second of it. And then I thought about it, and it was like, well, if you're quad sleeving, people literally can't shuffle your deck. So like you can just show up to the match with a stacked deck, and like it's like the most difficult thing to imagine shuffling it. So like that would just be like the next level cheat is to literally quad sleeve your deck and then stack it, and then just like, hey, here, shuffle my deck. Shuffle my deck and present it.
Well, no,
to me.
it's an interesting topic because I think a lot of people do cheat without maybe totally meaning to or whatever, but in the sense that they're not randomizing their deck. Like you're supposed to randomize your deck, which means that you need to get like at least 7 good riffle shuffles, if not more, because you're not doing it perfectly, and nobody typically does that many.
Yeah, I love that about Arena because I hate shuffling. Shuffling is like the one thing that it's miserable. I bend my cards. I do all of this stuff. I'm a bad shuffler. I also just take more time shuffling because I don't think I'm that good, and I want to make sure my deck is random. Which even if you do, like, I just don't believe in the randomness of shuffling, I guess. So I like that I like the computer generated nature of.
I do too.
Arena that I do like.
No. Even though it's also not random, right? The true randomness is just not achieved.
Well, yeah, of course it's not. I mean, they
but it's
completely
more
they rig the whole system. They rig it, Danny. I mean, it's
that's
an
right.
algorithm.
You guys see my clip?
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys see my clip? Did you guys see that? No, you haven't seen it, have you? Check this out. So I'm playing in the CFB Clash against Room T, I think in the first round, and I go to cast a Petty Theft, and you can see that it turns into a little arrow, and the arrow's over the token, and I click on it, and then I go to click OK, and now all of a sudden it's selecting the creature beside it, like the 2/2, but my arrow never goes over the 2/2, and I was like. You can go look on. It's on my Twitter. I was like, I didn't actually believe the conspiracy theories that Wizards was trying to get some players to win, but I guess I pissed someone off over there. Room T always loved or something. So I thought I just misclicked on it, but like so one of my viewers, because I was live streaming it, clipped it. It was like, no man, you just got by Arena. I was like, holy.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, also the Discord. I think the Discord bug is still there. That's not something I made up. I mean, I could do an hour video about it. I'm pretty sure. If I would clip everything,
I'm pretty convinced. It's kind of ridiculous how often it happens. Like I'm a harsh skeptic. I'm super like, nah. Like
they do these temporary fixes where like a problem goes away and then it comes back like a month later. Like I remember the sideboarding thing where like at the end of sideboarding it would start to like make a buzzing noise if you didn't click like at the right time that you were done sideboarding, and it still does that for me sometimes. Like I'll just tank on sideboarding, and then at like 5 seconds left, submit, and then all of a sudden like my computer's still like
it just makes a noise forever.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
there was a time where if you had a DC or just a lack, and then you went to get into sideboard, you couldn't sideboard at all. Like that was like I remember that one. That was really bad. I was like, oh no. Well, okay. Next game. I mean, obviously, it's a computer program. There are a lot of bugs. Those bugs don't happen in real life, though, right? They definitely do not happen in real life.
No, but human error screws up more things than I think the bugs do. So it's like
I've had multiple matches at the Mythic Championship level, won and lost by Arena client. I'm like, I mean, I don't think people realize it, but like the Mythic Championship I won. there was a match. Like I don't say it, but like I don't say it because it makes me look worse. But like I really should not have made top 8. Like I shouldn't have. Like
Wow.
I shouldn't have even been in top 8. There was a guy that was winning.
Could you have been tied for top 8 though?
No, I was literally 8th place going in.
Sorry, jokes. Keep going.
Yeah, like the guy just like had a bug and messed up and like crashed and whatever, and then he came back and then messed up the attack, and then I won because of it. I felt like, okay, well, so here's the thing, right? You feel bad because the guy should have beat me. He should have beat me. It was clear he should have won that game. And so I thought about it. It's like, well, should I concede? Like technically he should have won the game, right? So that was my first thought. And this was a Goblins versus Sultai. It's like, okay, like, and it was early in the tournament. It was like round 4 or whatever.
It wasn't like last round. I was imagining like last round for top 8.
No,
so,
no.
So it's early.
Yeah,
what are your records?
It was early.
Oh?
I think I was like 2-1 or 1-2 or 1-1 or something like that. And so, but I thought about it. It's like, well, you can't concede there because if it could happen to me, which it actually has. It happened later in the tournament in a game that I was going to win and then I lost. So actually, I guess it might have evened out. But anyways, you can't concede there because it can happen to you, and the situation can be reversed, and it's just, and you just have to live with it because it's the same thing as playing on an arena ladder, right? Like you either win or you lose, and if it says defeat on the screen, you've lost. It's just a game. It's not Magic. Don't think of it as Magic in the way we know it. It's a game. It's a video game. Like you can get beat by the system. You can get beat by a lot of BS that happens. That isn't part of Magic the Gathering. You can get beat by, and you can lose to your computer. You can lose in a number of ways that aren't actually playing Magic. And so, yeah, like I was escaping an Uro, which has happened to me a couple times where I click the 5th card and then the whole thing clashes and I immediately relog, and then the game's gone. And so we just had to replay the game and then I lost and that was against Luis Salvato. So like, yeah, it all evens out, but it's happened to me like a consistent with some amount of consistency. This stuff has happened.
Yeah, that's a lot of errors and bugs for like that high level of play, right? When like one game can decide the difference, like basically did of who's going to win or lose a tournament. Like that's insane. Like that's probably too much, and that's probably a good reason to be having a lot of major tournaments in paper, and at least until they get the client like I don't know more stable. It reminds me, I had a quick one. Seth mentioned about like what it says on the screen, defeat or victory. And that's like it reminded me of, I was at the 100K DreamHack that they had. And this guy is attacking for lethal, about to win game 3 and like runs out of time basically with like lethal, like attackers being tapped, like no blockers available. Just like we needed like one more second and boop, sure enough, defeat pops up on his screen and he loses it. Absolutely loses it. Starts berating his opponent, starts berating like the TO that comes over, like just goes nuts. But like at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like there was a finish line there. You did not cross it. It says defeat on your screen. And I mean, even if I don't know, it's interesting the one though, because like what if it was just wrong? Like what if you like killed them and it just bugged out and said defeat instead of victory?
Yeah,
like, at what point is it like, okay, this is too much?
I do a lot of recording my matches, by the way, for these high level events. I'll like just do my own backup recordings because I'm always worried that they have no way to monitor the games. They have no way to pull up past games that I know of. So if your opponent was to report a score or result, or just to disagree with you, say, "Oh, well, I won. No, I won. No, I won." How does that even work? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As far as I know, there's no actual, unless the event is being recorded in a video context, which that's maybe why they're doing all of the MPL. One of the reasons why they're doing all of the MPL and Rivals. It's not just we're not just streaming because they want us to stream. Like, it's because they want some amount of tournament integrity there as well. And so I fully agree with that because, like, yeah, it's the same thing with Melee. Like, you play your match and then, like you're playing your Clash match and you just lost your final round and you just say, well, no, I didn't lose or whatever, like, like that's the thing that I'm wondering if people, I mean, obviously it's uber scum and but like, I think about things like people can do these things to really, like, these systems that we play in are pretty flimsy, I would say.
Yeah, but I like the way you said it's a video game, right? Arena is a video game, and you really only lose if there's defeat. That's how it works.
Yeah,
and I think this goes for Magic Online as well. It's a different video game, but has Magic rules, and we had an accident recently, right? Something similar happened there, and I think that just proves what I said the last time. It's a video game. You have to treat it as a video game. Don't say, yeah, you can do it this. This is not the real Magic. This is a video game.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, I remember my clock ran out one time to 0, and then it just kept letting me play, and I won the game like 2 minutes later, like easily 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just like kept waiting for it to pop up to kill me. It was like, this is so weird, but for whatever reason. So yeah, it's literally a video game that has, potential for errors and bugs and glitches and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's a flawed video game that you can lose and win based off of things that shouldn't be happening. And
I think it happens in all the video games, right? I mean, they're like speedrun communities who just play games and they abuse those bugs to win or like to get better, which is, you can obviously not do that here.
It's
Magic,
almost like a cheat code,
but
right?
it's a thing.
There is someone that found a cheat code for this. There was at least one person who figured out how to force the opponents. He was laddering, right? And there was videos of this. The guy was laddering, and he somehow found a way to force his opponent from the disconnect, boot his opponent from the game. Opponent comes back, and there's no way to join the game again, and so then you would just win by default.
You're talking about the mousing over the cards?
I don't know what he did. Like, I just know that I would play against the guy on the ladder, and then like I would win the first game and then disconnect during sideboarding, and then I would try to reconnect, and then I couldn't reconnect to the game and I would lose.
Yeah. That happened too. That's a while ago though, but that happened too. I remember.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw the other one where you could mouse over your opponent's cards or whatever, and it would kind of like just like so it lights up every time you do it. So their arena is just like lighting up a bunch, and then it would just like crash and freeze them out of the game. They couldn't actually click anything in arena. That was like another one. Yeah,
I think that happened to Brady, right? To Brady, and I think
Brady, yeah.
That was hilarious. Just floating the rum there.
So speaking of like that stuff happening in all games, I recently started playing Legends of Runeterra, which is made by Riot, who makes League of Legends, which I'd always thought was kind of they were sort of like one of the pioneers of esports. They're like kind of a behemoth in the industry, and the game looks very, well, I don't know what the word is, like fancy. It looks very like modern, but it has a bunch of bugs too. I mean, it's only been out since the beginning of the year, but like I was surprised by how many bugs I was running into somewhat consistently. Some pretty bad ones. Like one of them's like I was streaming the game and I think I won, or I don't know. The game ended and it shows you like the screen after you get rewards, and then it just like stopped there. And I was like, "What's going on here? Like, why is nothing happening?" Like, "Oh yeah, that's just a bug." I'm like, "What do you mean?" It just like kept happening like time after time. And I have to close the program and reopen it like a consistent amount. And I mean, they did fix it pretty quickly. But like, it's pretty bad bug where it's just like, oh yeah, you have to close the program out and re-log in and reopen it every single game. And the games are super fast. It's not like in Magic. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should give Wizards a little bit less flack if even like this giant, company that makes video games specifically for a living also has some of these issues.
I think bugs are just normal in games. There will always be bugs, right? One bug gone, new bug there. Bugless game, I don't even know if that exists, right? That's kind of hard. I mean, people play it, stuff happens, and then no one saw this one coming, and it's always the same. I also played some Legends of Runeterra. It's a cool game. If you play it on your phone, though, The network error sometimes can be a bit tricky. I'm not sure if you ever tried
Oh,
it
I
on your
haven't tried it.
phone.
No.
Yeah, so it's a really awkward situation where you get kicked out of the game, then you come back to the game, and then you get kicked out again, and there's this timer, right? The same as in Magic, the
Yeah.
hourglass, and it takes it up, and then you just do nothing, which can be really frustrating. But it happens not that much, but it can happen. Even though you have steady connection, it's a thing.
At least it works on mobile. Seth, have you ever tried any of these other games that are like similar to Magic or like other kind of like strategy card games like that? I thought about it. I was like, why do I play Magic? I mean, the game is great, but I feel like the main
Yeah.
reason is that like the OP, like there was a way to go to the Pro Tour and try to win some money, and that always appealed to me. Whereas like none of these other games have really had that. There's never been just like go play Hearthstone, finish top 1,000, play in this other tournament. It was always kind of like these like convoluted systems that didn't really understand, and like small invitational tournaments, like 16 people. It seemed really hard to get into, which by the way, Magic kind of feels like right now, but less of an extent. But yeah, Seth, I was interested if you've ever tried like Legends of Runeterra or Hearthstone or anything, and what your thoughts of them were.
I have not seriously tried those two games, although I know that they are quite similar to Magic. I just sometimes I just feel like learning a new game is kind of tough, and so that's part of it, I guess. It's just like I feel like once I were to get into a game, I would like probably get good at it, etc. But there's like just the getting into it part is I guess the barrier to entry for me. I do play bridge, which is it is it's a card game, just much more traditional. Um, but it's been around for so long, storied legacy of and for those who don't know, my username, a lot of people know it's bridge spelled backwards. My dad was a world champion player. I played competitively, and that's a very difficult and challenging game.
Tell us
It's
more.
really
Tell us more about it because it seems like simple on the outside because you don't have a lot of cards and stuff. I've played, a handful of times with family members, so I don't really understand it. My mom, and my grandma play like I don't know, fun competitively or whatever. Like they're pretty into it. But yeah, tell us more about kind of like how it works and stuff.
Yeah. Super, super tough game. Once you start to realize the depth of it, I think people sometimes, when they're first hearing about it, they compare it to a game like Hearts or Spades, which it's got the trump aspect of it. Like one suit is going to be there's to start. There's a bidding process, so it's a partnership game. You're playing against your duo playing against another duo, and there's a bidding round to decide both what suits can be the trump, and then how many tricks you need to take in order to make the contract that you declare. But your opponents are going to also be bidding, so you're either going to be declaring or you're going to be on defense. And if you're declaring, either you or your partner is going to be the dummy, which means you just put your hand down. You're not actually playing the hand after the bidding, and then you play out cards, etc., which can be also challenging, knowing like which cards to play your opponents for, and sometimes you can kind of figure that out based on the bidding. So the bidding is probably the most complicated aspect, but also the play. There's a lot of interesting decisions too. So if you want to figure a card game it's also a very social game, right? Like a lot of people, I would say the vast majority of players, they are older people for whatever reason. It draws in an older crowd. Possibly that's because, it is definitely an older game than a game like Hearthstone or Legends of Runeterra, obviously, but or even Magic. It's just so much older than all of those games, and so people are more familiar with it. But also just being a partnership game, I like that aspect of it a lot because it's a dynamic. I play with family. I play, but it's fun. It's kind of like that enjoyment you get from playing a team event um, in MTG. But the thing about MTG is that it's not really meant to be a team game. Like the team aspect of it is a little bit forced because it's still you're still actually playing 1-on-1 versus another opponent. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I like the game. Other games I've played, poker. I've played that competitively before Black Friday, 10 years ago or whatever. I played that on Poker Stars, so I do like and I know that you have as well, Jason, played very
A lot of poker.
competitively as well. Um so yeah, and then also here's the thing. Here's the problem, and I just bought a Switch, by the way. I literally 2 weeks ago bought a Switch, and I've just been my daughter's now she loves Animal Crossing, and we've just been kind of
So good.
just dirtling around doing that. But so that's been one of the ways I guess we've been passing some time. But yeah, I think the problem is and even is just time. Like if I started diversifying and trying to actually get good at one of these other games, it's going to take away a little bit from Magic. Like and I've seen that. Like sometimes I think everyone is going to ebb and flow their interest in Magic a little bit based on what tournaments they have coming up, based on what cards are legal, based on formats, based on whatever else is going on in your life, based on whether you're winning or not. There's a lot of combinations that can maybe make you interested or more or less interested, but I think having these other games on the side can be a bit of a distraction if you are trying to be a professional, in a different game.
Yeah, that's a big worry. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big worry as to for me because for the last I don't even know month or 2 months, maybe more. It felt like there was a big tournament that I couldn't miss that was important coming up on that weekend. Almost every single weekend, or a vast majority of them, and I just felt like if I took any time off to go do like play Legends of Runeterra because I wanted to check it out for a while, that I'm hurting my chances now in these Magic tournaments. And it's something that has always kind of really worried me, but I wanted to do. And I don't exactly. There's just not enough time, right? To try and be amongst the best in a game, like you really got to dedicate yourself.
I can't even. I feel like now my time is spread thin, even though like it's COVID restrictions. So once this like one, I mean, once we get over this, I feel like it's going to be even more like difficult to manage my time, just because there's going to be more things, that I'm eligible to do. And so I just think it's really, really tough. And I've been even having trouble like figuring out what I'm going to stream because streaming is such like if you don't have a schedule every single day that you follow, like you guys somewhat do, which is great, but I don't. So it can be the thing that just gets left out in the cold because you've just got X and X, or you get something random that pops up, or you just don't feel good, or like I'm someone that can be pretty emotional with how I'm feeling, and if I'm in a bad place emotionally, then I don't like to stream because it's just a different. It just doesn't work. So. And that's been kind of, I've had a bad week. I mean, I'll go ahead and say that I've had a really, not my greatest last couple days here. Haven't submitted an article to TCG Player, and had a not so had a couple other things that I won't get into, but yeah, I mean things happen, right? You're gonna have things that come up that are unexpected, that are negative things that you just have to adapt to. But sometimes for me, it just takes a little bit of, just kind of time. Sometimes I just need a little bit of time to just there is that old word relaxing. Like sometimes I forget about the
Right.
word. I don't know if you have much time to do that, Danny, because you just have an absurd schedule that I can't even imagine. But for me, I need to sleep. Sometimes I just need to do something random. Maybe I've actually just been like vegging out watching people play Among Us on Twitch. I don't even like to play
Nice.
that much, but I actually really enjoy just watching people.
I will one day I get you in. One
Yeah.
day I get you in. You watch me as well, so you should come in.
Yeah.
Last time was funny. It's definitely funny.
Yeah.
Kenji was a little bit drunk, I think. I'm not sure if you saw it.
Yeah,
And then-
yeah, Kenji's awesome. I love watching the Among Us games, because especially the MTG ones when people are streaming it. I'm almost always there lurking in chat, because like I just like, because there are people I know, and when you're watching it, people it's a fun game. But I also have played it one time and I'm really really bad at it. But but like I'm really bad at playing it. But yeah, so that's like just kind of and then also here's the thing about those other games you mentioned, Jason, is I actually can't stream them, so that's gonna really cut the and that's because of my MPL stuff, so that's gonna cut my interest. Like it's just not gonna allow me to dedicate to them, I don't think, at this point, because there are other competitive card games which really do clash with Magic in that respect.
Yeah, so back to the tough schedule. I have to say the last 10 days post F2K tournament, I took an easy one. Last week I definitely only streamed like 3 times, which is way below what I do. This week I didn't stream yet because I was sick. So I had actually time to relax and just even watch Netflix and
Yes,
like, there were
even
so
watch
many-
Netflix.
you know-
I know how insane is that.
Dude,
I
I
was
want
like-
that so bad.
I had so many movies. I watched like Into the Spider-Verse,
Nice.
the animation movie. I always wanted to watch that,
So
but I had
good.
never time. Right? Like, how should I? So I was sick. I was like, no, I'm just gonna, I watched that movie and I was like, that's a good movie. Like, when you watch the movie and after that you're happy about it.
Yeah. I
I missed that.
I binge watch Netflix. Like when I like more get into their TV series, but when I watch a series, I always watch the whole series
Yeah. Oh
at
yeah.
once,
It's bad.
every single time. So like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
watched and I am trying to remember exactly what the name of the chess one was, because
Queen's
everyone's been
Gambit.
talking about it. Oh yeah, the Queen's Gambit. Yeah, I mean that was only like 6 episodes or whatever, but it just
I gotta
was
do
like,
it too.
it was just bang bang. It was done before I
Yeah.
was even like.
Yeah, it's so bad. I remember when I used to work at the bank and I came home like at 10 or 11 and someone wrote me, "Hey, you should watch Stranger Things." I was like, what is this? Okay. 11, I click and then suddenly 7 in the morning. No, I have to go work. And then I went to work again. And then I came home, I was like, I should sleep. No. And
Number
I
8.
I just watched, and then I remember, I'm a binge watcher too. It's really bad sometimes. It's like the one more. You know the one more? Everyone knows
Yeah,
that.
one
Let's
more.
watch one more.
One more.
One more is fine.
I like that though. I like some like let's see. Queen's Gambit, I was like that. I watched the Jack Reacher one on Amazon. I got into. I get sad when there's like not a show that I can like just really connect with and enjoy, when there's just kind of, I feel like there's nothing out there. Speaking of though, like taking time off, one of the things I think everyone kind of knows to be true is that like to try and do creative things, you sort of need to do that thing where you like relax or let your mind like turn off. Like if you push and push and push and push, eventually you kind of just like see things through like a like a pinhole, and to try and get that creative juices going and have like ideas come to you, or to learn things. Like sometimes I just want to like, I don't know, click around on YouTube and be like, oh, how do you video edit this, or how do you podcast that, and just like watch stuff and let things kind of like have ideas bubble up and try things, to have time to do that sort of creative stuff. And like I just don't have time ever. Like, and I think it's important to make the time, because I think if when you're happy and you're relaxed, you're going to be doing better work and you're going to be producing more, rather than when you're just driving yourself into the ground, basically.
And it also, something really funny I used to do to relax, that sounds really stupid. I used to like programming games. Just because I did computer engineering as well, right? And I was like sitting down and just playing with some game engines, and I always use the same character I have, and then just make it jump and shoot stuff, right? And then when I have it, it's like, that was nice. And then after 2 hours, I'm relaxed, and that's like, I'm not sure if you know, it's a super old game called Mega Man. I used to play when I was a child, yeah, and I just reproduced that game in a game engine, and then
Nice.
I'm happy, and then I go next. I used to do that a lot, and I did that 2 days ago. It jumps and it shoots, so it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a kind of awkward way to relax, but I think everyone has their ways to relax. And if you work every day, like I work, right, side the streaming and all that thing, right, you feel definitely stressed out, and when you have time to relax, or like me, I was sick, you forced to, you kind of realize, oh my god, there are other things too, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's so nice just to do other things. I will definitely be back in streaming tomorrow when I'm fit again, but it's just nice to sometimes I think maybe I should cut back in some things, right? I mean, I wish I could cut back in my work too. Probably next year, but yeah. So it's just a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
finding time is tough. Do you guys did you guys play any sports or anything growing up? One of the things I missed during COVID is being able to play, like, I played some, like, softball, like, old man beer league softball kind of thing, but fun social aspect. Go out there, just swing as hard as you can at a softball and walk around the bases.
I mean,
I played 2K.
Also MMA.
NBA 2K.
NBA 2K.
I know that game too. It's a good
No,
one.
I used to play tennis and
nice.
baseball to some extent. Wasn't quite tall enough to be a basketball guy, but I did play when I was much younger. But
How tall are you guys, by the way? We only
6
see us
foot.
like this.
you're 6 foot.
Okay.
Not too shabby. 5'8".
I'm 5'11", about yeah. I mean, me and Chase maybe he's a bit taller than me, I guess. But yeah,
That's funny.
it's about the
I
same.
thought you would have been more like 5'8". I thought you would have been more like Seth's height, because I've never
Oh,
seen
no,
you.
no.
I've never seen you stand.
No, I'm like I'm 5'11", 5'10"ish. I don't know. It's the problem is I use centimeter, right? And then when I'm looking, it's like, okay, that's all 5'10" of. It's all the same. Right? It's like,
Calculate.
yeah, I don't know. It's around 180 for people.
I've
who
always wanted to
know
be
how it
taller.
works.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish I was taller, but I have certain skills that other people don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
you
not
can't have it
short,
all.
right?
Mhm.
You're not short as well. You just all
It
about the
depends.
average.
It depends. Like if you watch me doing an interview with Day 9, I'm like looking up the whole time.
Yeah, but he's tall, right? That's the same for me. Like, yeah,
I know,
mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, I did also sports. I did soccer. Well, I was born in Europe, right? It's a thing here.
Mandatory.
It's basically a thing everywhere except in North America.
Yeah, it's a thing here now too, but not like everywhere else.
Yeah, I played it. So when I was a kid, until 10, I used to have asthma. I'm not sure if that's the correct term.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it disappeared. And I always loved soccer. I played soccer every day from that day. I went to school with soccer, with my soccer ball. Like, suddenly I was like super sportive and could do everything. And then I became so good at that game that I managed to get into the youth team and the selection here. And then I kept playing until 18, 19. And then I injured myself multiple times and I had to stop. But nowadays I have friends, they play in clubs like Liverpool, right? Or other places, which is kind of cool since I played
pretty
with
cool.
them. Yeah, but
that is
I was
pretty cool.
I was kind of unlucky. I used to play a lot. I enjoyed it. I was never that good though. Like, not as good as them, right? I mean, I could easily play maybe the second division or something, right? But
What?
not like.
One thing I do, which is in the sports realm, is play fantasy sports, but like fantasy football I've been doing, but it's also been super tilting because like sometimes I'll be like playing a tournament and then like I'll like the player that I'm starting for that week just like goes out of the lineup, and because you always have to lock your lineups on Sunday at like the game start at like 1 p.m. But sometimes I'm like playing in something, and then I'll be like, oh, your starting tight end is not playing or whatever, and like that type of thing, definitely. But anyways, that's a different topic. But I've been getting into that. It's been like kind of addicting.
Sounds like fun. I've wanted to get into it. I've done it like a few times just for funsies with friends, but I still don't like, really understand like the deeper strategy. And
I
stuff
mean, I
to it.
lose a couple $100 every year doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hobby, right? Every hobby costs usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. I mean,
Costs
like,
you time and
say-
money. It makes me think of what other people do when they play Magic. Like they're actually spending money and losing. They're actually losing money and losing time on it. Almost everyone is,
Yeah. I will say playing a different game has helped me when you're talking about people playing Magic. Because when I'm like, I don't know, coaching or trying to help someone, I'm just like, yeah, or I'm doing a deck tech. I'm just like, I just assume that people kind of have like a similar grasp of the game or knowledge of decks and metas and stuff that I do. So I'm just like, yeah, of course, like you just, you play the innkeeper, you play your guy, you draw a card, like duh, or like, but when I'm like learning Legends of Runeterra, I'm like, okay, what are all these cards? I have no idea. Like, why are they playing them? Nothing. I have zero clue. So like when I'm watching like a live stream or something, it's like all just going over my head. I'm like, oh, okay. So, when I'm teaching people in Magic, you could probably break things down a lot more and like, really explain why things are and stuff, which is something I don't ever really do. I just take it for granted. So that's been kind of useful learning a new game.
Was there any other games you guys like? You play poker, right? You how long do you play poker professionally?
I play like 6 years.
So you made your living out of poker?
Yeah.
So did you play online or you went to a casino every day?
Mostly online. I played some in a casino. So here the legal age is 19. But there was a casino in Chinatown where they basically wouldn't ID us. And so I played when I was 18, a little 4-8 limit.
Okay.
Yeah, way back. This is way back before, I guess the boom was happening. But
Limit is such an interesting game because you just wait for hands, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
and position, and
I
think position is really important.
It feels like a
important.
much more beatable.
Yeah, but
game.
in limit, it's really
I
take risks.
It feels like a much more beatable game, assuming that people are not that good. Like it's very easy to just.
I mean, like that's the thing about poker, though, right? You make money from your opponent's mistakes, not from your own brilliance.
Yep.
And I mean, limit kind of got solved. Also, like you can go to Vegas and play heads up limit against like a bot, like just against a machine, because there's just not enough options. Poker's an interesting one. It's like kind of had a bit of a resurgence lately because of COVID. Everyone's at home, and so there's been a bunch more poker action. I don't know if you guys follow the scene or anything, but Doug Polk and Danny Negreanu have had sort of like an online Twitter beef for a long time, like years and years, and they're playing a huge heads up challenge against each other. That's like kind of, I don't know, the poker scene's like big into it.
Yeah, that seems cool. I mean, I know that because I mean, there's definitely some overlap between the Magic community and the poker community, right? Like,
I also play poker, by the way.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people are at least familiar with both games, if not, there's a number of poker pros who used to play Magic, which is cool. I even when I went to Vegas, we played I just got together with a bunch of. I was in a werewolf game. Like there was Justin Bonomo was there. There was a bunch of
nice.
Big name. Sam Stein used to play. There's a bunch of people who I was like, wow, Ben Yu is someone who I knew better. But there's I'm watching a super high roller bowl and there's these people are putting up $300K as their entry fee, and I know those guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just think poker is sweet. I think people have definitely gotten. I guess they've gotten better, but I guess it depends where you play. So yeah, it's a really cool game. And then obviously there's a few different options you can. I think most people play no limit, but there's other variants you can play.
There's a lot of variants, yeah.
I have one funny story about poker. I used to play poker a lot when I was 18 to 20, and I managed to win one online tournament. It was not that big though, but I was still in the low five figures, right? And I took that money, and the problem is when you're 19 or 20, that money goes away really fast. And I have many stupid picture of me and my friends like driving in a limousine, going from party to party.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean it was still okay. I don't regret it,
I'm up approximately 50K from playing poker. Because I played before the Black Friday in 2011, but I played basically illegally online. I guess I was underage or whatever on Poker Stars. But I was playing and I just kept on winning, and then I would keep on playing higher limits, and then at one point I was up like 100K, and then I was like, all right, and then I just like did some really tilty stuff. It's so easy to tilt your money off. I lost like 20K in a day, like pretty easily. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, and I was just a kid. I was just like, I just didn't even know what I was doing. But I started with $20. I literally started with $20. I would play in I think it was like $1.80 or something, like sit and goes, and just like won of those with like 180 people on Poker Stars. That was like $600, and then all of a sudden my bankroll was $600, and then I was just like, it just like spun up because I was pretty good and everything. But I feel like I'm pretty easy to read. So when I tried to go to a casino and play, and I just realized I am bad. I'm actually very bad at the in-person game. I'm just not. Amazing. But I also just can't handle it because I can't handle how slow it is. It's because if you're playing online, it's just
oh my god,
glacial.
You can play so many more tables, and it's just so much.
Yeah. I tried multi-tabling and everything as well, and then I was like, well, I went always to full tilt, and it heads up. So you could go to full tilt and play for like $400 heads up or whatever, right? And if you win, you just make like 360 minus the rake, I think. So that was like what I used to do, playing heads up all day. Heads up.
Come here.
I really enjoyed that because you only have one opponent, right? And it feels better. I'm not sure with the odds and everything, but I also was impatient when I was younger, right? I wanted that money, When you win, and usually when I won, I just took the money and then waited for next day.
Hi. She can't see us here.
Say hi.
We're waving.
Oh, she cannot see us, yeah.
Yeah, I have my headset on, but she's home for obviously home for Thanksgiving, and we're gonna be doing a get together. So tomorrow with some family, but very, very safe, like very, making sure everyone is taking care of themselves. So
that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? For are you doing anything? It's
not our Thanksgiving. We already had ours in Canada.
Oh yeah,
we have a Canada and a European guy. There's it doesn't exist there. I mean, yeah. Do we have something? Do you have something like this? Do we have Canadian Thanksgiving?
We do, yeah, in October.
I don't think we have that.
No. Well,
no, I mean,
you guys came over here, so
yeah, it's you have that because of us. That's right. By the way, thank me. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have your family, and especially right now, right, and COVID times. It's nice to stick around.
Tell them what game you want to play after this. What do you want to do after this? Tell them.
Is it Animal Crossing? Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. Yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriend has over 100 hours in that game. I went to my Switch and you can check friends' profile. I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, that's a lot. It's it's a nice game to spend time with friends, and I never tried it, but I think many get addicted to it. It's just you build something, right? You build your story and you whatever. I have a Switch too, and I think it's really cool to play with friends.
Yeah, she's. I mean, I thought she was a little young, but we've just gotten some people have just gotten kind of bored, including just wanting some. I was like, well, she's gonna be home. She's not gonna be at school. And at least over the holidays for some of the time. So she's only playing Animal Crossing because a lot of the games aren't really her age yet, but something that she can grow into.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the memory of like a 5 or 6 year old where you played your first video game?
Totally.
I clearly have it here. For me, it was Super Mario 64. I was like, I played that game. My eyes were like, what? I was like a little kid, right? Came out like in 96. I was like 5 or 6.
Because he could go like 3D. He could go like towards you or away from you, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, I never had a console or anything. I mean, my dad had like a gaming PC, but I couldn't play most of the games there. But when I had my Nintendo 64, that Super Mario 64, the music, everything. Whenever I hear the music from that game, I feel like
You get
home. Like
back,
that
yeah.
feeling, the nostalgia. I think it's nice to have this memory as a kid, right?
I'm gonna out myself a little bit here, but I remember being 4 years old, living in California, and my grandma brought home the original Nintendo, and we played Mario on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the original Nintendo for me. I never saw that one.
I started with
like-
N64, but
Yeah, I mean, we're the same year, right? Makes sense. Yeah.
I was
That's true.
I was skipping out of high school to go play N64 GoldenEye in my buddy's garage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we've hit an hour, so we should probably wrap things up.
Wow.
Danny, you want to say goodbye to the kind folks? Tell them where to find us and all the good stuff that's coming up.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for listening to this special version of podcast, I would say, with our special guest here as well. Yeah, it was nice to have you guys here. Just like the hour passed really fast, and you can find us at Planeswalker Pod on Twitter, on YouTube, and definitely check out our tournament this weekend. Participate or watch. Maybe I have some left booster codes. I still think I have like 20 left, so I can give them away as well. Yeah, just come there, join us, have fun, or win the tournament.
Prizes by Cool Stuff Inc. Make sure you check out coolstuffinc.com for all of your gaming needs, articles,
And
this podcast.
if you want to buy or sell cards, I've sold cards to Cool Stuff, so that you can do that as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Very awesome.
Yep.
You do it all.
And have happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We will catch you next week. Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yep. Take care, everyone. Bye. Stay safe.
Bye.
Awkward sign off. Yep.
Completed.
Be so nice.